Okay, we'll add to this again a bit. Come here, Capley. Chop, chop. If I come to punch Capley and he's coming to block and take my arm, as he's pulling down, if I fight him, he can always pop my arm. When he pulls me and I go with it with my body, then I can change it again. But I stop him from being able to go with my body. I spread his body away with my one knee, taking my other knee across him. I use my key to pop his elbow. He's going to do a flip for me. But I kept the arm nice and tight because people will flip because they're smart. And they'll know when they're going to be hurt, and they'll try to learn to avoid it. You just got to learn to get one step up above them so you can pop out them again. If, say, I come to punch him, he takes me, but I fight it, and he takes it back this way again, you're like this. I'm going backwards, right? I go with it. Again, I pop his arm. I have control of popping his arm. I can elbow him, finish him off. If I want to take the wrist, I can take the wrist, buckle him around this way, crank out the shoulder. It's all good. I don't know what he did, so here, if I come to punch him and he's going to do an arm lock, to me it doesn't really matter. I know I'm going back. As long as you know where you're going, you can adjust to it and take him then in another one. When you put somebody in arm lock, you have to know which way they can move out of it. If you know which way they can move out of it, you can adapt them to stop him from, you're always a step ahead of the next guy. So it's really, like, it irks at me sometimes when somebody posts something to a video and says, this don't work. They're basing their knowledge off of pure ignorance. And it's really lovely because they say, in the real world, that would never work. Yeah, everything I'm doing is reality. It's happening spontaneously with somebody who's opposing me. But the guys that are watching the video who aren't in the real world are the first ones to tell you, in a real world, this will not work. But they're coming from an imaginary world, not being part of the interaction that's happening. So it's one of these things, and everybody's going to come across people like this and say, that won't work. Well, it won't work if somebody doesn't know what they're doing. A straight arm lock doesn't work if I'm like this. A bent arm doesn't work if I'm like this. Somebody's going to give you energy. They're going to try to push you away. If, come here, Alan. Alan's a good student of Grandmaster Ron Ballas is there, and they come out to Canada sometimes to train with us, so I know this fellow quite well. If he grabs a hold of me, the same thing. If he's pushing me, he's going to give the straight arm. Then it's going to come back to here again, just like I showed you before. If he's pulling me in, I'm going to come back around this way. And this is popping his arm too, by the way. He can feel that?
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't really matter if let's say he's if he does like a kazushi, if he pulls me one way or the other way, I'm going to go with that energy. I got to watch out that he doesn't dance like this, right? So what I do at that point in time is when he pulls me this way, and I'm in this position, I had to stop him out. Again, don't want to rip my shirt, but here. Right here, we're going to pop his arm this way. Alan's good at moving around and avoiding this. Don't get me wrong. You just got to know how to stop him from where he's going to go to in a position where you can tap him out. Now, most arm locks that I like to mention, if somebody's really big and strong, you're probably not going to have the power to control them. I mean, like world WWF wrestling type of people. So the idea here, come here, Mike, is when he comes to punch, you're moving and just popping that with your, as you extend it at the same time, you can pop it, you're dislocating it at the fraction of a second. Because some people will pull back the energy and fight you really good. And some people, I don't want to give you a lot of force this way or a lot. They're kind of smart. They're going to keep a good low stance, and they're not giving you anything. Arm locks work. People give you stuff. But if people's not giving you anything, they're not fighting you neither. So if somebody's fighting you, they want to hurt you. If they're fighting you, they don't want to hurt you, then there's an odd reason why you're fighting in the first place. Right? So it doesn't really matter what he does. If he grabs onto me, and we're in this position here, if I know where his energy is, if he's pushing a slight bit on me, and I retract this shoulder and loop this elbow like this, that's taking him back, controlling him by the arm, which is, again, going to allow me to take him back in this position, pop his arm this way. If he adjusted his body, I go against this arm. If I couldn't do that, I'll put my foot through here, in this position. I will pop his arm, extend my legs, and choke him out at the same time, just because he was too smart. So I think, okay, we got 2 minutes. If I'm coming to punch Mike, and he takes my arm, and he goes to arm lock me, and I go with the energy, his arm lock doesn't work. Right? And don't mind me, I go to the camera. There you go. I'm a showman. So in this position, if I was Mike, I would be elbowing me in the head right now. So if he's coming to me in the head from this position, I'm going to go back again with this position, taking this arm back here, stepping back in this position, taking the arm back out again, extending it out here, tapping him out. So when people say arm locks don't work, it sort of bothers me a bit. That's why I decided to bring this topic up, and I hope that everybody